Hello everybody. So this is 4th of July 2025. Guess what? So I figured I'm going to do some of these journaling videos again because I really miss them. So in 2024, as you know, if you have been coming here for a while, I did these journaling videos every day, and that has changed my life, and I'm grateful that I'm able to help so many people now. The journey started, as you all know, and if you're new here, a year and a half ago, actually a little over now. The journey started where I lost my job, lost my marriage in the same month, and life was very dark. And from there, I started journaling every day, not right away, after a few months. And then I was doing it as my own survival guide, and also hoping that it becomes a survival guide for someone else someday. And I'm so grateful that that is what it is becoming. And in the process, if you know that, I have published a gratitude journal. Actually, I'm going to show it here. It is right here, gratitude journal. It's on Amazon. It is unreal. It is unreal because looking back last 4th of July to this 4th of July, and that's why some of it I was missing, that, like, how the same things, I'm looking at it differently now, because we never really finish becoming, right? Because as life goes, as time goes, we are always changing, we are growing, right? So if you're not growing, we are dying. That's something they say. So anyway, I felt like, I really wanted to do this video because they help me also to reflect, to see like how far I have come. And I feel like this is one way I can really connect with you guys, because on the YouTube now I have several shorts that goes on, and there is weekly on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If you're interested, you can find details on the description section. But these are the videos that I wanted to do it like unstructured, and I don't know, like, for me, pretty much all the videos, I'm drinking some kale juice. I am into veggie juice. So this is kale, celery. Some of you will be like, a yak. Kale, celery, cucumber, and a little bit of mint, a little bit of ginger. What else? Oh, green apple. Everything green. So sometimes if I have lemon, I also put little lemon, but I didn't have lemon today. But anyway, and a lot of time I did mention to you guys that actually I was in one short last year, maybe this year, a few months ago. Anyway, so the story was, life's resiliency is like kale juice. You know how it's a metaphor, but it is true. When I started the veggie juice, I don't drink it like very often. I would say more in summertime, because everybody wants to do the summer body or whatever. I have been trying to lose weight for so long, and finally I'm losing some. So anyway, so the kale juice, when I first started, I don't know, 10-15 years ago, first time, I think I saw that on the Netflix video. I forgot that guy's name. He's from Australia, and he made this kale juice documentary, which became like viral, and then everybody was drinking kale juice. And when I first started, I remember I had to put so much pineapple in it, and only then it tasted good. But then here and there, I would try with different things, but I always had to put some fruit in it, because kale just itself seems very weird. But now, I put green apple, but as you know, green apple is actually not that sweet. And I can drink straight up celery juice. I don't know if I can drink straight up kale. Maybe I'll be able to, but I'll have a facial expression to it. But now this I can just drink just like that. So the whole point of this is, when we keep going, when we show up consistently, our the mental muscle gets stronger, right? The physical muscle may not be as strong, but the mental muscle gets stronger. So wherever you are in your journey, keep going. And sometimes, which I did not realize when I started making these videos, but now looking back, I remember there was a specific video I made. It was July 6th, I think, July 5th or 6th last year. And I was in a very fearful zone. Like, you guys have seen the videos, and if you haven't, you can see some in 2024, because I used to date them even like every day. So this was my own way of making myself accountable. And, excuse me, I had the videos every single day, and most of them in the mornings, right? Like I would have my coffee, and which I still do, and sometime in this coffee lounge, I will have the coffee and do it. And these are going to be like sporadic. It's not a weekly or daily, depending on like when something is major and I want to share, I would. And someday I do hope to go live in these videos, and hopefully I would have a coffee with you guys here. Because in the live, I think you can kind of communicate with each other. However, I think it is through chat only. Like you guys can write up and I can read. However, that's why we have the meetup group where you can directly, like, we'll do a video chat where you guys can join if you're interested. Anyway, so yeah, I really was thinking to start this because I was missing that. And I felt that a real connection. I mean, you guys still comment and I respond and things like that, but that journaling part I was missing. So I figured I'll start this. So I would highly encourage you. So where I was going with it, sometimes I talk a little too much. You guys know by now. So I lose my train of thought. But these videos are real, so So I'm not gonna cut it or anything. And the journaling videos, I definitely don't cut it anything. So the other videos, sometime I started using CapCut a little bit, where there is filler stuff. Here and there I started doing it, but those are more structured, right? Like the Wisdom Wednesday, for example. Anyway, last week there was a really good one, by the way. You should check it out. This week, last Wednesday. Today is Friday. Yeah, 4th of July. So I made this video last year. We had a really challenging time, and then when you're in a fearful zone, and fear doesn't ever completely go away. You could still have little fear. It's the thing that I used to talk about last year a lot. It's that, fear and faith. And today, I read an interesting concept. His book, his name is Neil, I forgot the middle name, last name is Walsh, Neil something Walsh. And he has written, I think, 42 books or something. So I was reading a little bit of his things about his books. And his concept is fear and love, So I talked about fear and faith, and his point of view. And I love the concept. I haven't read many of his books yet. I was just looking for the summary and stuff like that. And I loved it. I loved it because and you guys know how I evolved, right? I was raised Hindu a long time in my life. I was Hindu, and then after things fell apart, I followed Buddhism for, I don't know, 6 months or so, very, very deep, and that's my style. I go vertical, not horizontal, very deep vertically to learn, like anything that I want to learn, very deep. So from there, and a lot of things unfolded. That's a story for another day. And then I, got into Christianity, and I started learning. For months and months, and many different experiences that happened. And eventually I became Christian last December. So in Christianity, there's this concept of God is love, right? And you have relationship with God, which is not a concept in Hinduism. It's a little different, and in Buddhism there is no concept of God. It's like you yourself. So here's the interesting part. The other day I was reading these things, and because a lot of it is like I'm just curious and I research for my things, and I found, in Hinduism you keep taking, reincarnation. You may know the concept of reincarnation. So if you have a good karma, then you may reincarnate less, and you have bad karma, you kind of you have a new life and you suffer and whatnot, and eventually it's called moksha, which is like, liberation from being born, and then, it's kind of that your soul kind of gets released or whatever, call it. So I'll tell you more, and then it'll make sense. So in Buddhism, the thing is, the karma concept is still there. I think Buddhism and Hinduism is very similar in many aspects, except the caste system is not there in Buddhism, and also there is no concept of real God. Whereas in Hinduism, there are millions of gods. And then in Buddhism, also the karma, when you do good karma, eventually you get to the enlightenment. In some way, the enlightenment, the feeling of enlightenment, the moksha. And in Christianity, there is this concept of salvation. So there is no reincarnation, but eventually you get to salvation, and then you have this heaven, the concept of heaven. You live with God. So I find this very fascinating to learn about this. And then when his concept was like, fear and love, because when you have a relationship with God, it's that, and it's not love from the perspective of how you would say husband and wife love. It is like, love, the care, the deeper understanding, that type of emotion. So yeah, these days, sometime I used to talk about it and sometime I didn't. And the reason, so last year I was in a very fearful zone. I didn't know where life is going. And of course, things are so much better now. And I feel that freedom that, I never felt in my life. And not only that, it's about, and I talk about this, when you are in this zone, you feel this freedom that you feel like you don't really have to prove it to anyone else. It's like the external world can say whatever they want to say or believe, because it's the 8 billion people have 8 billion unique journeys that I keep talking about a lot. Because your perspective, no matter what, another person will never, ever fully understand, right? Think about this. When you go see a movie, right? And people will have maybe a similar message, but not exactly the same, first thing. Second, maybe the message is still the same, but how they apply it, even if it was an educational movie, say, how they apply it to their life could be totally different, right? That's what I'm talking about. And that comes from our lives, our childhood, and how we were raised, and how our life shifted, and all of that. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating when I think about all of this. And I'm like, I have been thinking to start this series for a long time called Self-Care Sunday. And then I'll be honest, I didn't want to have another weekly series. And also then it becomes like a more structured. Instead of that, I wanted to keep this journal kind of videos, even though it won't be like a weekly or daily, like I said, it will be like sporadic here and there, but it will be very deeply reflective. And I would highly encourage you to do that. Trust me, the reflection that comes from that, you won't get it anywhere. Because last year when I was going through challenges, and I was actually very, you can look it up, that video, I was very emotionally in a very difficult place, and I would say in some way things were going in this direction, and I was going in this, in my mind I wanted the things to go in this direction, so I was swimming against the current, like literally when they say it and when you feel it, that's what was happening with me, that everything was going north, and my mind was like, no, let's go south. So with that, what happens is life becomes a constant struggle. And the struggle is not anything else. The struggle is between that inner critic and inner coach. And I refer that inner coach concept from a Christianity perspective, you can think of as like inner coach is like Holy Spirit. So my Christianity is also probably a little bit different than your traditional Christianity. And that's where I know that as I speak freely and openly in these videos in the coffee lounge, I might get some critical comments sometime. And guess what? That's the point. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not afraid of living a authentic life anymore, because I have seen the damage it does of not living authentically. It took me 40 some years to figure that out. Now there is no going back. There is no going back, my friends, because it feels so freeing. It's already 15 minutes, so I don't know if you are still in this video, but if you are, I tell you, it is amazing. It is amazing, because I made that video last year, and that's what I'm saying. Because I made that video last year, the emotions were so deep within me. Because if I just thought, it will not be. And now I can see the significant progress or the growth that I made, right? And I'm not saying it from the point of being like, there's no arrogance in it. It is about the freedom. And I guess today's perfectly the right time to talk about freedom, right? Your country may be free, but you can still stay in that, I don't know, that inner jail from your mind. If you're not feeling free in your mind, nothing you do or say or feel might be enough. Right? So that's the thing that I'm like, this is like when I talk about reinventions on the website or videos, I talk about mindfulness, reinvention, and gratitude. And you guys know this is the gratitude board that I started January 1st, 2024. So I won't be in this house after a few months. It'll be a new background, but this gratitude wall I have done in my workplaces and stuff, but when things fell apart, I started doing this, and from there, my gratitude journal. It's very, I don't know, emotional, or how I want to say it. And now I look at life more with curiosity, more with excitement. It's not about how life is going to unfold. It's like, oh, I wonder. It's like a wonder, like how next 4th of July is going to be. I told Alice that we are going to have a party because I'm a big party person and she is too, just like the mom. So she tells me that I'm obsessed with travel, but she herself also. But now she admits, she didn't admit in the past. And same thing with the party and all that. I'm like, life is supposed to be fun. And we got to make up for all these years when I didn't have as much fun. So anyway, today we didn't have much plan. Yesterday afternoon at her school, there was some party, like summer school. End of the day, they had some 4th of July party, so I went there. And there were kids and other parents, and tomorrow we have a birthday. So today kind of kept it quiet. And I'm doing a lot of research on the book that I'll be writing, Grateful After Goodbye. It's a trilogy, the three books. One comes out before end of this year. The second one I'm planning next year, April-ish, and the third one before end of last year. So my hope is before end of 2026, all three of them comes out. And right now the big focus is on the first one, Grateful After Goodbye. So it's not about that I'm grateful with what, yeah, I'm grateful. It's not grateful that it happened, but it's not something I asked for, but how things have unfolded, how God showed up in my life like never before, which probably would never have happened if all of this didn't go the way it did. And like you guys know, I talk about every single thing the way it happened. It had to, because that was what was preparing me for this day and for all the work that I feel deeply passionate about, and I really feel like this is my calling. So and what I believe is now, today, right now, making this video on 4th of July 2025, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And this is also very symbolic from another point of view, I'll tell you guys. So this is the weekend, 20 years ago, I came here in this country, 2005, July 2nd in the evening I landed. in Boise, Idaho. That's where my work assignment was. So I came there. I was there for 3-4 months, and then we were shifted here. For our client location was in Northern Virginia, and that's where I mostly lived here the entire time, other than a little bit here, a little bit there. But it is very symbolic because I remember I used to kind of, it was a big thing that first, okay, this is 5 years, this is 10 years, and 15 years, I don't even remember, but now 20 years of that weekend. And that weekend I didn't know much about 4th of July, because if you know that internet was there, but there was no social media thing and things like that back in 2005. It seems like, oh my God, another era. I slept a lot. I remember that. So first evening of 2000, July 2nd, I remember it was like so bright outside because summertime in Boise, Idaho. The sun was not setting until like 9 o'clock. I'm like, what is going on? So I didn't know that here, in India, even in summertime, it's like, it gets dark. It's like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. maximum. So, so it was an experience for me then, I remember, and how some things carry with us. So if you ever meet with me on one of the meetup event, you'll see I have this magnet that I designed, fridge magnet, and it has a road and the mountains. And it is also on my website at the bottom. You'd see those mountains are like the Boise Mountains. So when I was designing that, somehow, I don't know, even though I spent very little time in Boise, Idaho, just 3-4 months, there was something strong that was attached to me. And I remember 6 of us friends, we went to Yellowstone National Park on the Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend, yeah. And I think that place is still the best place I have been to as far as like vacation goes. I don't know. I think it was because the first or was different. I don't know. I it's funny that when I went there, I always wanted to go there again, and it's been 20 years. I haven't been there. I definitely will go. I don't want to go before I die, whenever that is. So yeah, because going from here, from Northern Virginia all the way to Yellowstone, you need to plan. But I do want to go and take Alice there to see how amazing Yellowstone is. So yeah, I wanted to, just it's almost like these videos are going to be like almost chit-chatting with your friends. So I do hope that someday a lot of you guys will join these ones, and maybe we can plan it. And then, since right now it doesn't have a specific schedule, maybe some days we'll start doing it on Sundays or something. I don't know, since these are not completely weekly. We'll figure it out. But I wanted to let you guys know, otherwise, like, what is going on, because the short videos and the weekly videos, my main goal is to, like, to help people who are going through these challenges. But in this video, I also wanted to talk about how sometimes the same things happen, like last year or now, because things will keep happening and the world will go crazy with things. It's all about the focus, right? And from here to here, how quickly we can get back. And for us, when we as human beings, when we are on autopilot, we don't even know we are here, right? So I think I have become more aware when I'm on autopilot. Something puts me in the autopilot, I like here, and I become aware of it much faster than I used to be. And then I do the usual things, what takes me here. If it's something small, then just exercise, going out for a little bit of a walk. And sometimes something bigger, like, excuse me, going to a coffee shop and having some chit chat with a friend. And because those are big bucket filler for me, you guys know I talk about bucket filler a lot, and we have a good bucket filler coming. It's a trip next Saturday. We are going, Alice and I are going to have a 1 week trip, and this is going to be awesome. So that's like my absolute bucket filler, the trips. So every 3-4 months we do it, and we also have a playlist called The New Life We Are Creating. I don't know if I changed it to make it sound more rhythmic or more better or something to reflect that. The point is, in those videos I try to post the videos from our trip, where I started that from the last trip. I think the prior ones I haven't. She and I, we go for a trip every 3-4 months because I love traveling. Like I was saying, my daughter says I'm obsessed with traveling. So, and I think all the prior ones were like driving. She and I went last March and August and December. All of those are within 2 to 3 hours. I think the longest one was like 4 hours drive, but this is the first one we'll be flying. So we are excited. We'll be in the country itself, but we're super excited about that. So I'll be posting the videos, like, the time of the shorts, like in the evening when I post them. So I'll be posting it there. I'll inform you guys too in a short, because I know the longer videos are not everybody's style. So I will inform you guys there too. The 12 p.m. series, I'll keep it as is. I think it is helping a lot of people on a midday work, I think they told me. So I'm going to keep it as is. The evening ones, when there is no weekly, I think Monday, Wednesday, Thursday we have weekly. Other than that, I'll be posting those so you guys can see the fun that we might be having over there. So that'll be cool. And there's an ocean, there's a beach and pool, so that'll be awesome. See, just by talking about it, I'm like smiling. And that's the thing, like, whatever you like in your life, it's like when you have, it's the quadrant. I talk about the rich quadrant, right? If you have seen the Wednesday video, relationship, ideal life, career, and health. So the ideal life is all about your deepest desires and dreams. And for me, the deepest desires and dreams are about traveling. So when you do those, and sometime, if I could, I want to travel every week, but that is logistically impossible. But you could still do the small things, right? You can go for a coffee, and sometimes some of my friends and I would go have coffee, and we laugh like crazy, and I love to laugh. Not all my friends are like that, but some are like me, crazy. So we have a lot of fun, and those fills my bucket. Those really fill my bucket in a big way. So yeah, it's all about authentic life, and I'm reading and researching a lot about the book. I have the framework, not the framework, like the outline ready for the first book, and also the trilogy, the second and the third. And now it's all about kind of writing it and structuring even better and getting the details. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited about it. I never knew that I would love to write so much. I was actually saying to 2 different friends this past week or the week before. So I've been posting on LinkedIn for a long time. I don't know, 10 years, maybe those LinkedIn posts, an article, but it was for very leadership related, right? Because that's what my job was, people leadership. And I did not necessarily write any book in this field or anything. I was thinking to, and then I started, but and that's the difference, I think. Leadership is great, but then the soul level connection is what, sometimes we like really miss. Because hey, I'm back. So my daughter got home, so I actually had to cut the video, and I'm back again. So even though I was thinking I'll go it at one shot, but I just, that's what life happens sometimes. That's what I gotta do. I'm still drinking my kale juice. So yeah, what I was saying is, like, I thought about writing a leadership book, and then I started it, but I don't know, it was 5 years ago, whenever the beginning of pandemic. And I never had, and this is why I love doing these videos, right? These journal kind of videos, because it kind of takes you to that emotional depth. Excuse me. Like where you are and where you are now. Because back then, I wanted to write the book, but I never had this intense like, I don't know, like intense wish or desire, the deep desire to write it the way I have now. And it's like there's so much in my head that I have to kind of put it on paper. I did not have that back then because I was not so passionate, or my soul was not so deeply connected with that, right? Because leadership just with the structure without the soul is not my thing. And it was interesting because today I was doing some research about those two. Like, there's in the self-help field, there is so many people, different kind of people, like starting from Tony Robbins to Wayne Dyer to Bob Proctor, and endless, right? 100 years ago, Napoleon Hill wrote books. I have his books, and many other, Louise Hay, so many. So anyway, long story short there is that I used to get very, very excited about, like, the Tony Robbins style of teaching. And you guys would hear me talking about Tony Robbins things and Joe Dispenza last year a lot in the daily videos that I made. And somehow I don't connect with Tony or that type of style as much anymore. I mean, they're still good, but however, I feel like, okay, I know that. And then today I was researching, why is that? Because I'm learning more about myself too. Is because those are very structured, and structure is not a bad thing to building habit and all of that. I'm like, I'm already doing it, so then why don't I connect it? So it's more like, now, even though I'm doing it, it is more, I'm connecting with the soul, and it's like the mind, body, and soul. So some of the teachers focuses on mind and body, and you change your mind and then you live a happier life. And some are like mind, body, and soul, where, because soul is the deeper part of you. And different religion and different faith might look at it different way. And that's why I partly say that I'm not a traditional Christian. And I have a funny story about it, like why and how. I will share in another, next coffee lounge, maybe next when I do it, or the one after. So I am a person where I do mindfulness practice, and also I'm a big believer of Christianity, the goodness of Christianity, but not so, how would I say, like following the tradition. It has to be this way, it has to be that way. That is like a big turn off for me. And now I can say it because, again, I'm saying, like, it's all about being authentic. And if I offend somebody, then it's not, it's being authentic about yourself, how you look at life. I believe in God, and I have a cross here, and I listen to God's word every day. But it's not about showing off. I didn't want to do it for showing off. But the point is that, actually, let me just tell you guys today, instead of if you're still watching. So it's a funny, weird way you would think I'm saying it, but it is what it is. I got rejected for baptism. Can you believe that? So anyway, the longer story I'll share another time. The question I was asked was that if I had a certain time where I started believing on the truth of God. And I was being honest. I was like, my life is very different. I lived in India all the time. I've never even, known anything about Christianity. And then as how life moved on. And then last year, I had many different experiences that I lived through which, I saw God showing up. It's almost like God chose me before I chose him. And even though some of the traditional belief or things may not be like the way I do or say, I think, and where I was going with that is that Neil Walsh, I forgot his middle name, but Neil Walsh, he has a lot of his books, and he talks about the fear and love, and the relationship with God that you have. And I was talking to them about how I lost my dad when I was 6 years old, and in Christianity is also that concept of God being like your father. And I don't know, I had some type of, connection is not the right word, but you know, a lot of life events, the way that happened, it almost seemed like to me that that what that is what it came about. And then I started connecting with Christianity so much more, but I guess it was not enough for me to get baptized. And I was planning to do it a little bit later because I'll be moving and a lot of other stuff going on in life. But a very unexplainable, miraculous thing happened, which is very, very deeply personal, so I can't really share it here. But I was like, that was a sign, that was God's sign. And we wanted to get the baptism done. I did not qualify, so but anyway, that is that, and I'm fine with that. And I think, good or bad, and that's why I think a lot of people and the younger people are turning away from the churches. Church is not bad. Church is a good place. There are a lot of good people come together, good energy, but you know, it's almost like they talk about having ego. In my opinion, if somebody is thinking that somebody has to do this because God said this or else you don't qualify, that's an ego too. But anyway, that's my 8 billion people, 8 billion unique journey, right? And I don't hold any grudge or anything. Like, you know, I talk about this thing, and which I learned from Buddhism, but don't judge, don't criticize, don't blame, because from doing all of that, judging, criticizing, blaming, none of that gets us anywhere. It's all about like having compassion, having understanding that where someone is coming from, right? That is what makes a difference. But I was a little surprised. I heard from many people about that, especially people who grew up Catholic, and then they started, you know, the a lot of time many people at the church would say that, oh, okay, you know, they would scare people in a way, if you don't do this, you'll go to hell. And that's what it just turns them away from Christianity, not only like from the church, fully from Christianity. I have many friends like that. So I'm like, why is that, right? So for me, and I'm grateful that for me, it did not turn me away from Christianity. For me, I'm like, you know, that'll sound a little weird, but they are the middleman. I don't need the middleman to connect to God, right? You can, and to me, this is what I'll go deep on some of these videos too, because these are something like I wanna help there's a lot of people in that zone, that there is some real good things that happens when you believe God, when you believe something that is beyond yourself, right? Because when you have faith in God, faith in yourself will rise. And I know it because that's what happened to me also. And you call it mediator, you call it middleman, you don't need them, because they think that you are going to God through them, right? You don't have to. You don't have to. You have your deep personal relationship with the God. And it's unfortunate because people don't see that part, right? They just turn away from the faith. They just turn away from the church, and they suffer. They don't see the goodness in it. So because they think that those people define it, right? And they think that people like us, we are not following each and every step. We have the ego, but in some way they have the ego which they are not realizing. Anyway, I have experienced some firsthand, so I gotta say it, and because by sharing this stuff, even if one person comes back to faith in their own way, and that helps their life, it is worth it. It is worth it. And it's all about living authentically, and I'm going to. And if some people someday write a controversial comment about that, you know, it's fine. I'm going to deal with that. So so I just wanted to share all of this, you know, what's in my mind, how I deal with things now, because last year there are a lot of times I would before last year was even more. Last year, slowly I was progressing in there, right? That where I would try, and it is also about like leadership and drawing boundary, where people would try to invade your boundary, right? And then you know that that's bothering you. If a spiritual conversation leads you to something that it's unsettling, you're feeling unsettling, and not once, but multiple times, not the right place, not the right place for you. So anyway, so this is how these conversations are going to be, my friends, and we're going to talk about many different things, good things and real things. These are going to be very, very real. And I still drink the coffee mugs. You don't see that as much often because I was doing it every morning, the coffee mugs with the message, and I buy them from dollar store. You guys can do it too, because normally if you buy something from Amazon, $15 a mug, and the dollar store, they cost now $1.25. I have like maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 now, and all of them have little nice motivational message, and I love it. I love it. I'm a big coffee person, as you know. So yeah, with that, I think I'm going to finish the video today, and then I don't know when I'll make the next one, but I'm excited that I started this because I've been thinking about it a while. There were a lot of different kind of chats, like if you meet with your friend at a coffee shop and talk about a bunch of different things, it'll be like this. And in some videos, I also wanted to talk about the intersection of mindfulness with some real, the powerful Bible stories, which I was originally thinking to do it as a self-care Sunday series before end of the year, but I figured I'll do it together as part of this one because it could be part of coffee chat. Why not, right? Coffee lounge. So come, join with your coffee sometime next time, whenever eventually, I go live, and until then, I will keep uploading them here and there whenever the timing feels right. So take care. Happy 4th of July. Have enjoy with your family if you have the family together, and if you're going through the difficult journey, know that everything is impermanent. Everything is impermanent. I really purposely wanted to make this video also because, again, I said it is part of journaling too, last year to this year. If I did not make the video last year, I would not know how far I have come. And so this is also part of the path. It's like almost a guidepost, and then when I will be there next year, I'm looking at it with more excitement, more curiosity, and all of that, which I did not last year, right? That's a big, big progress in my mind. So yeah, have fun, enjoy. Life is short. Take the time, take vacation if you can, or go do the little things. Sometimes big things need lots of planning, but you can always do little things. You can always go for an outing with your kids in the afternoons on weekend, or meet your friends for coffee or lunch or dinner. And if you're in this area, join us for the meetup group, and we also will have coffee, virtual coffee. Join those in the meetup. So excited to meet you guys sometime, in person or virtually. It'll be awesome. Take care. Bye.